and this is my YouTube channel, Living in the Illusion. And on our board, we have our discussion from our last video. And this is what it was, because we'll go through a slight review. All of these videos impinge on each other in one way or another, and some of this information will come up in our subject for today. But for right now, it is amazing. There are no differences between anything. Oh, that's unusual. And here's what we started right off by these two statements. And they're primary to understanding what we're talking about in that last video. Consciousness is fundamental. Everything is conscious. No, I said that wrong. Everything is consciousness. And consciousness is infinite. So what does that mean to be infinite? Because that's kind of strange to deal with infinity. So infinity is everywhere. Infinity, there's no place you can go that infinity is not. Infinity cannot be divided. It's one thing. It has no holes. There's no holes in it. There's no boundaries around it. And there's no gaps within it. So consciousness is everywhere. And I had a video on that. I'll reference it. So this is the model that we use. We use because we're looking at the mind-body connection. Now, the mind is a quantum state. And I have another video on that, and I'll reference that one too, on quantum states. And mind and body is entangled. Entangled as in quantum entanglement, because the body is the transition point between quantum and classical. And this is what we wanted to point out here. So we have the mind, which is quantum, the body, which is quantum and classical, and these two are entangled into one system. So mind-body, you always may have wondered what the mind-body was. And, well, where's the mind? Where's the body? How do they work together? If you think about it as being entangled, you will be closer to the truth. So mind is associated with learning. It is an extension of consciousness through the infinite field of everything. So mind is the learner. What's it learning? Well, it's learning from the egoic world. And the device that it's using for that adventure is the body. So the body adventures, as we all do, into the egoic world, and we have all kinds of exciting times. And since mind and body are entangled, the mind knows what the body's going through. And the mind, as the learner then, determines the meaning of the experience. It's not the body. The body doesn't know about the meaning. It knows about the adventure, but not the meaning of the adventure on a deeper scale. Now, this information from the mind is in a quantum state, which means it's quantum information and can't be copied into the egoic world through the mind, through the body. So it is in a quantum state. And a quantum state information is bits, qubits of information or probabilities of where the information will be in the quantum field of the mind. So we have the learner, the learning device as the body, and the learning environment as the egoic world. And that egoic world, like my channel, is an illusion. So that's what we talked about last time. Now we're going to go ahead and change to a brand new topic. I'm going to snap my fingers now. And this is our subject for today. And let me read it off my paper here. Powerful. The truth. Everything is just one giant web. Everything is one giant web. And there's a subtitle, Everything is Interconnected. Now that's kind of unusual that everything is interconnected, because in the egoic world, everything is separate. Nothing's connected. Everything is separate. And it's obvious. I'm different from you. My shoes are different from yours. Your car is probably different from mine. All kinds of things are different. Nothing is connected. We can see it. We can touch it. Say, oh, it's over there. Or I have it in my pocket. But it's separate from me. Well, so let's ask AI that question. Because there's a secret here. Let's ask AI, is everything interconnected? That's our question. And here's what she says. Yes. In a broad sense, everything in the universe is interconnected, and a concept supported by science, philosophy, and spiritual traditions, where the perception of absolute separation is considered an illusion. Separation is considered an illusion. Well, except here in the egoic world. Everything is separate. Well, but science and tradition, philosophy, that says that's not true. It says everything is interconnected. So let's look at some of those secrets here and take a look. Maybe the first one, everything is connected, influences each other, and is self-regulating. See how I'm moving? It's a dance. It's a dance that we're all engaged in, and we're not aware of it. Because we absolutely believe, because of our belief system in the egoic world, everything is separate and nothing is connected. If it's connected, it's because we, the separate part, connected them. put them together? Well, we have to look at the hidden concept behind that. So everything is connected. That's what science says. Influences each other and is self-regulated. So now we have nature. Everything is nature here. We are embedded in nature. So nature is very important to us. Nature is what's called parts whole or holistic. Now what does that mean? Well, it means you may have an item, a certain item. And I picked a plane. So you have up here, I'll show you the little picture of the plane and what it looks like. And what it looks like has parts. But here's the thing. The parts are whole. The parts are all the plane. If you take any of the parts away, the jet engine, a tail fin, you take anything away, it is no longer that plane. It's no longer the plane in itself. It is something else. And the same thing with us. You know, we have in our health and medicine, sometimes we have things removed. Like I don't have an appendix anymore. That was taken away when I was 16, I think. I'm different now than when I had my appendix because the appendix does certain things in the body. A lot of times we weren't aware of them. But we now know appendix has its place. And when you don't have it, you have to do certain things. Other people have had different kind of operations, and they're different after the operation. Whether they have knee surgery or they replace a hip or they have a gallbladder taken, whatever they have to change, they have to change their lives. They're no longer the same person. They have to make certain changes, superficial some of them, but they have to make some changes, which means they're different. So every time you take a part away from the whole, you have a different entity. And it operates differently within the world. And most of the time with the body, it relates to what you can eat, what you can't eat, all kinds of stuff like that. It changes your lifestyle. So every part, every entity is made of parts, but not separate. They are parts whole, which makes them holistic. And the plane is holistic. You take parts away, it's a different plane. Take parts away, might not fly. Depending on what parts you take away. But whatever you take away is going to change that entity, and it must function differently. So that's that. That's in nature. Nature is holistic. All the parts in nature are needed. Nature is one thing, and we are embedded in that one thing. So now let's look at appearance, because we see the egoic world as having separate parts, and we need to begin to understand that it we see things. We have an appearance of the outside world. And that appearance is what the world for us looks like through our lens of perception. Now, what am I saying? The appearance is an illusion and is not what's really there. You see something because everything is an interpretation of the mind, and how the mind interprets is determined by your lens of perception. So you can see things different. You can appear, they will appear different as you change your lens of perception. You're not changing the outside, whatever you think it is. You're changing your lens of perception, which determines the world that you create. Now, you are not separate from this interconnected web. I don't know if you knew that. Oh, first of all, you might not even know you were in a web. You are interconnected with everything, and everything dances together. We'll talk more about that in another video. But everything is connected together. You are not separate from the web. Now, we're going to have a little tea. And this is roasted coconut and almond bark tea. It's a black tea. So you are not separate from the web. You are not part of the web. You might say, oh, well, okay, maybe I'm connected. But you're not part of the web. You're the whole web. You're it. There is no web without you. Why is that? I have this why down here. Why is that? You are an extension of consciousness. Consciousness, oh, it was on the other video. Consciousness is infinite. Consciousness is infinite, and infinity cannot be divided. No holes, no boundaries, no gaps. You, as the web, are infinite. Oh, no, I can't be infinite. I'm just a little person here. I'm just a little person. I'm not infinite. Yeah, you have to be, or you couldn't be here. Why? You are an extension of consciousness. Now, we have another quote. I want to bring it to your attention. And I'll put it up here. I'll put it up here. And here's what the quote says. And it relates to some other stuff that we've done in the past. And here's what it's, this is by Max Planck. Max Planck was considered the father of quantum physics. If you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you change the way you see your world changes. How can that be? The world is your creation. As you change your lens of perception, you will interpret a different world. And that world will appear, come into focus based upon your lens of perception. So as you clean your lens of perception, you are going to see what's behind the illusion. Why is that? Your lens hides the illusion through your belief system, your values, and other stuff that you have put into that lens as a filtering mechanism. You never knew how powerful you were in creating your own world. And so that's are the things that I wanted to bring to your attention. And now we're going to look at A Course in Miracles. Oh, it always has something interesting to say. And so here's what it says now. And I might have to explain some things, but we'll do the best we can. And here's what it says. What is the same cannot be different, and what is one cannot have separate parts. What is one cannot have separate parts. Consciousness is the only thing that has free will. It is the only thing that has nothing to influence it. And as we have pointed out here, everything is connected, influences each other, and is self-regulated. You cannot move. If I want to go right, oh, that's right over here. I'm looking backwards at the monitor. If you're going to right, something else has to go left. Because there's no hole in infinity. So it is a dance where everything moves together. On the egoic world, we think, oh, we have free will and we can move here and we can move there. And it has no effect on anybody else, or nobody else affects us. Impossible. Everything is interconnected. Everything influences one system. It's one interconnected web that we are all dancing on. And I often think about that. And I have another video, and I'll reference it about the mind and the body, uh, recognizing that the body is a learning device for the mind. So it's in the description, and it is strange. The body is a tool of the mind. And that was again pointed out in the review from the video before. Now, as you cleanse your lens, the illusion begins to dissolve. And as the illusion begins to dissolve, you bring into focus what's behind the illusion. And what is behind the illusion? consciousness, oneness of what is. And I think about Shakespeare and the Tempest. Oh, that's an interesting play. If you haven't heard it or seen it, you'll have fun with it. This is in scene 4, act scene act 4, scene 1, act 4, scene 1. And this is spoken by great wizard Prospero.
And this is what he said: Our revels now have ended. These are actors, as I foretold you. We're all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. We all leave the illusion and leave behind the cloud-capped towers and the gorgeous palaces and all the solemn temples. But the body stays here in the egoic world. And we return to where we started, in consciousness. Be good to yourself. We look forward to seeing you next time, right here, as always, in the illusion. Bye now.